He always wanted me, I became like the big sister. And he was like, okay, we got to go get some swag. And I'm like, okay, we'll be at Universal. I'd say, you do. He's like, you do it. We can get a couple of jackets and some T-shirts and whatever else. And I did. Whenever we shot on location, we came home with so much stuff. And I was like his pimp for swag.
All night.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Radio Labyrinth.
This week's guest is the one and only Rhonda Shear. You all remember her. Comedian, actress, and the beloved host of USA's Up All Night. For years, she kept viewers laughing into the early hours with cult movies, comedy, and her unmistakable charm. And now, Up All Night is making a comeback, bringing the fun and nostalgia to a whole new generation. Please welcome to Radio Labyrinth, Rhonda Shear.
Good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for coming on tonight, if you're watching the show today as it comes out. But Saturday, October 25th at 10 p.m. That's right, Kings of Horror on YouTube. It's Rhonda Shear's Up All Night. It's a killer double feature. And can we say the movies? Yeah, we can say the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Hell House LLC and Hayride.
Yes. Exciting. All going back to where it all started for me, full circle.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane. I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited about it. I didn't realize at this place in my life I would be doing Up All Night again. So it's really, we shot our first one. We will be chatting live with everyone community-wise watching on Saturday night. But I have to say, it's been a really cool experience for me because this time I'm casting it, helping to write it, picking out films. Our partner, which is Kings of Horror, they're owned by a company that has several channels on YouTube and horror, Kings of Horror being one of them. And they have like 15,000 titles. So way more than even USA Network. I didn't have anything to do with picking films. It was just USA Network's library. This is really being involved from all aspects. And my husband and I had just built a studio unrelated to the show Coming's Back. But, we're on the west coast of Florida. We have two buildings, one that houses my intimate apparel brand, the Rhonda Shear Intimate brand. And then we had a second building that was a warehouse, but we didn't need it for warehousing anymore. So we decided to build a studio for podcasters, for influencers, for television commercials, for B footage, all things media. And this just happened to coincide, and it's perfection. And we basically, my husband designed and rebuilt what's very reminiscent of my 1991, 92, 93 bedroom studio. So it's truly that nostalgic feeling.
Do you have the heart-shaped bed?
The heart-shaped bed was built from scratch. And then we did this in 91. I had like 7 producers. It was insane. Why USA Network kept doing it to me, I don't know. But I had a heart-shaped green screen where we would basically either shoot footage of someone on location and then put them into the bedroom. Well, now we're Zooming a few people. And if we can't get them in town, since we're in Florida, like we Zoomed in Felicia Rose and Linnea Quigley and the director of Hayride, rather. So we'll do that sometimes. And then we have people that will obviously come into the studio and join us in studio, and a lot of local actors. And that's what I'm leaning into very heavy, is the comedy part of it.
That show, Up All Night, was a perfect thing to do when you got back from the party on Saturdays and Friday nights. And
right.
You did 450 episodes.
Insane. Okay, so here's the funny thing. USA Network destroyed all of the footage, both Gilbert Gottfried shows and mine, just for tape stock back in the day. So
they destroyed it?
They destroyed it just for the tape stock, which was so cheap. But it was in my contract that they had to give me 2 VHSs, one that I would send to my mom to watch shows and one that I kept. So I have most of the shows. I'm missing maybe 20 of them, but for the most part, I have my part, not the films, but what Kings of Horror wants to do for special content is they want to go back and match they'll get some of those films if they don't already have them, and then match the the ins and outs and put those together from back in the day, which would be really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that'll be. But I'm the only one, and it's really sad to me about Gilbert's material because just so brilliant, and to have all those shows of him, and they just destroyed them years ago. And I mean, they destroyed it in the early 90s. I mean,
what they do, just record over it every time?
Yeah.
That's terrible. I mean, no, not during the time, but after the show ended and, after they canceled it. I mean, tape stock. I mean, even for a major network, why would they need it for the tape stock, so cheap? But anyway, it's kind of cool that I am probably the only person that has a complete library. I don't know of any fans that have ever come forward and asked and said, I've got all of your shows. So I think I have them.
Very good forward thinking. And nobody back then, even these super smart TV executives, were thinking about the future, because now if they had all of those, they could stream them and charge a little bit of money for people to go watch all of them.
Absolutely. No, they weren't thinking ahead at all. Not at all. But I was. I mean, I have all my content from almost everything I ever did. I have thousands of, VHSs and 3/4 that we have uploaded to either YouTube or we've put them on CD. So most of it has been preserved at this point. Been doing it for years, so slowly for years. So my camera's sinking again, honey.
I went in a YouTube rabbit hole last night, watching all these amazing clips on your YouTube page. And I loved it. The stuff I didn't even know because I probably was too young. But you were on The Dating Game. Pat McCormick was he the bachelor looking to go out on a date?
I think so. I did all of Chuck Barris' shows. I did the $1.98 beauty pageant, and Chuck was great to me. I did one of his pilots called Comedy Courtroom.
That's on there.
Did Dating Game twice. I did a gong show. And what's really funny is that Pat McCormick ended up writing some of my later shows on All Night. I have to say it that way. Yeah. So it was really funny. That was a full circle moment because I was really young when I did that show. It was like when I first got to LA. I think everybody went on a dating game or something. Big stars went on it because they just wanted to get in front of the camera, and it was the easiest was to get on a Chuck Barris show. But he was so brilliant, and he really liked me, and he kept wanting to use me over and over, which was really nice of him. And I probably wasn't that picky because all I wanted to do was get on camera in my first years. But if anything, I oversold myself, which is probably why I ended up hosting and doing so many things I did and not the serious dramatic acting. But I always liked comedy anyway, so I was always looking to meet people in that world. And Chuck Barris, he was way ahead of his time.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I know to me, he was the forerunner of reality TV.
Absolutely, he was. Absolutely.
And it was just so much fun back in that time. And even when I did USA Network, so I started in 91. I know the show started in 89, but there was another gal on there for about a year and a half. And then they recast it. I don't know why, but, I just went out because my agent sent me, and they said they were looking for over-the-top sexy. And I was told over and over so many times, you can't be sexy and funny. You can't be sexy and funny, because I was trying and then doing stand-up. I'm like, I'm so tired of hearing that you can't be this way that I went straight forward. I mean, I went in the spandex dress, and I I brought my blow dryer and I plugged it in, and I was blowing my hair. I was just doing insane stuff. Yeah. And I think they thought I was so insane that they liked it. They're like, okay, she'll keep people tuned into because back then the movies were considered schlocky. I think this young generation, this new generation has discovered these films. There's not, they're beloved to these people. But back then it was about keeping people tuned into these B comedies and these schlocky, horror films, so that people would watch the Snapple ads and the Budweiser ads and watch the commercials. And the show did make a lot of money commercially. I mean, I think we ended up paying for La Femme Nikita and Weird Science and Duckman. We were this little show that did, but we were so experimental back then. It was the early days of basic cable. And that's where the fun is for me on YouTube, working with my partners, the Kings of Horror, and our studio. That, there's guidelines, obviously, that you have to still watch for YouTube. But for the most part, to have complete creative control over the comedy and the humor and the casting and no one telling you what to do is so super fun and so super special for me.
I bet
that sounds like a dream job.
Yeah.
It really is. And then the other thing is, I mean, yes, we are going to monetize it through, subscription and Patreon and product, but we also, my husband and I, we have our intimate apparel business. So it's not like when you're an actor and you have to do that to make a living.
Yeah.
So it's a nice, more of a freedom. Although, we're producing it. So it's costing us that way. So we hope to monetize it and that it will work out that way. And at least the production pays for itself. But I don't know. I have this sneaking suspicion it's going to just blow up. I just really feel that way. I feel like the kind of press that I've been getting, I'm really shocked. I'm really surprised that no one has said, you're an old bat. Why are you doing this? And the thing about it is I think people probably have this nostalgic feeling for me, much like I did, like when I grew up with Barbara Eden from My Dream of Jeannie. When I met her, I interviewed everyone on Up All Night, but when I met Barbara Eden, I was like, oh my God, Barbara Eden, Jeannie. So I think that's what it is. And then I'm surrounding myself with lots of young talent and acts and pretty girls and pretty boys and funny people and comics and musicians. And John Brennan, do you know who John Brennan is from The Last Drive-In? He was on Joe Gottfried's show for many years. Yeah. And he's his musical director. He's a very funny actor, but he's also a musician and writes music. So he's going to be working with me on a regular basis. He's playing my neighbors / funny characters / original music for the show. So I'm leaning into a little bit more of regular characters where Up All Night Up All Night. We did through the 8 years I was on, every producer had their own take of the show. So we did a lot of location shows. We traveled all around LA, all around New York. And then we did some shows that were completely in studio. And those were my favorites because I loved the sketches and I was able to stretch myself and do all kinds of characters as well. And that's what I want to bring to this is I want to bring back funny because I find Saturday Night Live and, there's no variety shows. So Saturday Night Live, which is very funny and the acts are funny, is so political. So I don't want to do that. I mean, yes, we'll lean into what's politically incorrect, like my body, my choice, and we want to show our boobs. So that's it. We're going to kind of just do a slanted look at some of these things.
And that's what a lot of people want, I think, now, a way to escape all this craziness and enjoy something. And like you said, the nostalgia is definitely going to bring people in because that's what everyone's looking for. They're looking for a time when things weren't so crazy.
Yep.
I agree. And I think there's definitely a resurgence in the horror world. And a lot of the people that grew up watching me are the people directing and writing these films. I've had so many people reach out and say, the reason why I do this is because I watched you or I watched Gilbert or this is what I grew up with. So that's one reason. And then a couple of years ago, I started getting calls from different directors to act in films. So I've done 3 films in the last few years. And I think I told you guys, 2 episodes of Tyler Perry's All the Queen's Men in Atlanta.
Nice.
So that was a pretty cool experience. And I have an agent out of Atlanta now. So it's fun. I mean, if I get something great, if I don't, that's fine too. I'm pretty busy doing this show now. So it's fun to be more in control and being the one to cast and write and to just, play.
Well, for people who don't know, listen to this list. This is right in the Gen X wheelhouse. The A-Team, Mike Hammer, Heart to Heart, The Fall Guy, The Dating Game, Chips, and an episode of Happy Days where you got to kiss both Richie and the Fonz.
3 episodes.
3 episodes of Happy Days. So what character did you play on there? Because I just watched the clip. That
Always a girlfriend of one of them in the first.
Oh, so you multiple characters. Okay.
Yeah, I never got a regular part, but I did also, the very first one I did was a burlesque show, and Cassandra Peterson was on that one. That's how I met her. And so I know Elvira literally from the first show I ever was cast in. So that's kind of cool.
And Happy Days was the first sitcom or the first TV
Happy Days was the first sitcom and a Bob Hope special, if you all even know who Bob Hope is.
Bob Hope.
Yes.
Did you get to work with him?
Yeah. It was one of his last, specials that he ever did. And it was very cool. So that was a unique experience. And, because Variety was it was at the end, but it was there. And, and I did Married with Children, which was amazing. And Three's Company, Full House. I get asked about Full House all the time because I played a grown-up Kimmy Gibbler. And a lot of young people watch the reruns of that show.
Yeah.
Right.
And you were in Spaceballs.
One line. But Mel Brooks did cast me.
Yeah.
He cast every single part back then. And even if it was just like like, even if it was a non-speaking role, he cast you. But I auditioned for the waitress in the diner scene. It was with John Candy, and that was a very cool experience. And he said, I really want to use you, but you don't have blonde hair. I would have cast you as the waitress. I'm like, I can wear a wig. I was a brunette back then. And so he goes, no, just, we're going to wardrobe you, come to the set, and I'm going to find lines for you. And that's what he did. And more people come up to me and ask me about that show because it's iconic, that film rather. And people like go after the autographs of like all the cast members. And of course, we've lost a few in recent years, but it's a big deal for people to get the autograph of everyone in the film. So it's really neat.
You did 729 distinct films, according to letterboxd.com on the original run. And that's not including, repeats or anything, but they said 729 distinct films. Is it possible that you have a favorite out of all the movies that you were involved with?
Each show, we would show 3 films. So, do the multiplication, it was 8 years, 3 films, plus 2 that we hosted on camera and then 1 that we hosted just voiceover. Did I have a favorite? Oh my gosh. No. Actually, I was forced, and I tell everybody, I'm very upfront about this. I was hired happily to do the show, but I was never a major horror fan. I was more of the comedy films. And I'm kind of mad at myself now looking back because all those people like Roger Corman and all those people, Lloyd Kaufman was a regular on the show. Yeah. And I could have gotten roles in all of those films, but I had my eye on doing a sitcom. I loved comedy, and that's what I wanted. So all these actresses would come through the show, and I'd use all these B film stars. But I'm like, I want to do a sitcom. I mean, I could have done every one of those films if I wanted to. They were so kind and so nice. But I had my eye on the television. I love television. I moved to LA to do television and not films because my reasoning was sitcoms were really cool in that, at the beginning of you get cast. You show up on Monday, you do a table read, and then you start rehearsing on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, it's a dress rehearsal. Friday, you tape 2 shows in front of a live audience, and then it's on the air. It's like a little play, and I love that. Films, you wait around, they film out of order, you wait around. And I loved how fast everything went. And even with, Up All Night, the reboot, we just shot on when did we shoot? Like, what's today? Monday?
Wednesday.
We just we shot on Monday and we're airing on Saturday, and I love that. I think it's fast, and that's cool. What we'll do.
That's a new facet to have an active audience and be able to participate with them while everything's going on.
I think that's become so important across the board because I think this also goes to the social media and kids not being as social anymore. They're on their phones, so they want to have this community, which is why they like going to all the cons and the festivals to meet people. And I think they like watching as a group and chatting. Yeah. And that wasn't the way back in our day, of course. But I'm finding that even in our world of, we're in the retail world. Mm-hmm. My husband and I manufacture and design women's intimate apparel, and I've been on Home Shopping Network for years. But now, since COVID, we're still on HSN and different shopping channels worldwide, but we're finding that now people are shopping live on Amazon and TikTok. Same thing. People are chatting in live time and asking questions about our products. So I think everybody wants this one-on-one experience where you didn't have that before.
Well,
you have the one-on-one and you have the community. Go ahead, Dustin.
Well, I was going to say you have the ability also that you didn't have before, especially being in creative control, that you have an active test audience constantly to be able to see what they like, see what they don't like, be able to tailor your show to your
100%. I love that you said that because no one has said that, and I've said that. It's the way I design my intimate apparel line is by the feedback that women give me. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I wish you would do this. I wish you would do that. I want a front closure bra. And so I listen. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I feel like this way people are going to say, oh, I'd like to see this film, or can you lean into the comedy some more? Or we want more information about film. So, and I'm very honest. It's like, I'm not Joe Bob Briggs, who's like all things film, which I love him for that. And he writes his own show. But this is why I'm bringing on the directors and experts and people dropping in. And yes, I'm going to ask questions because if I don't know that film, I'm going to be learning in real, if I don't know, I'll watch the films, of course. But if I don't know the background of that film, then I'll be learning in real time along with the audience. But I want to give them, so I want to be different than everybody else that's out there and then give them the comedy experience too. So I think they'll come along for the ride. I think it's just going to be silly enough and fun enough, and we'll find our footing. Like I'm happy with our first show. I know what we need to do now, which we didn't do enough of, but that's any first show. You haven't done this in a long time, but and also working with a whole new crew. But my cast was spectacular, and I'm so proud of these people that came on, like John Brennan and Yuki. You'll get to see them soon, and they're funny, and they love doing. I want to do these big characters because we don't see that anymore.
No, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, and I mean, where you see it is in an improv. If you go to an improvisational class or an improvisational show, it's the only time you see these big characters. And that's how all these characters come out of Saturday Night Live is Second City or, and I think they're just so much fun to do. And as a performer, it just, it's that inside of you. It's like, I want to do this crazy character, it's awesome.
How much of the original show was improvised?
It's so funny. I was just talking to one of my original directors, one of my personal favorite directors in LA. And I had him talk to my producer, and I was asking him questions, and he said, don't ever say cut to Rhonda. Let her flow. Let her flow, because a lot of the magic with she and guest happen after the cut. They'll go into improvisational. So a lot of it was scripted or an idea, but then a lot of it we would just kind of run with. And the business of the movie was always scripted or, tidbits about the film or showing a clip. But, and we always had, some kind of theme. But a lot of times we would go on and our directors, and with Gilbert too. And a lot of times I did so many shows with Gilbert. Our first show was dedicated to Gilbert. So
I was going to ask you about that. Sweet. Bro, we're all big fans of Gilbert.
Yes, we are.
I was so happy. I got to interview him during COVID because I started the show called Rhonda Shear Social Hour just because I was bored. And I was definitely like a podcast. I didn't even realize it because I interviewed about 150 people. No one said no because no one was doing anything. I'd call up people. I'm like, I'll call this person. And they were like, yeah. But I got to interview Gilbert, and that was awesome. And he was really sweet. And I'm really happy that he found love and got married to Dara and had 2 kids. And he had that chapter in his life. Just lost him way too young. But we did get to do quite a few shows together, and we had this incredible chemistry. I don't know if he ever realized it, but I'm like, this is the sitcom I want to do. I want to do it with Gilbert. Like, he's this nerd, but then I can, we just had this wonderful chemistry. I did do his
wow.
I did do his podcast, and I brought him down a road, and boy, he got blue, and it was great. So if you ever go find that podcast that I'm on,
how did Frank handle that?
He didn't say much. I mean, I wasn't in studio, so I was doing it was one of his early shows too, and I did do it via phone. But he was doing impressions of all these comics I told him that used to hit on me, and some of the really old timers too. And he just went into all these. He could do all those voices.
They were so great. We loved him. And you on your YouTube page have a couple of really cool supercuts, like Universal Studios, New York tour. And it's just all of you two together. And it's amazingly funny.
It was so funny. And the story that everybody goes, well, what was Gilbert like off camera? I said, well, he was more quiet, but he was still mischievous and cheap. And it was it's like, Gil was actually a couple of years older than me, but he always wanted me. I became like the big sister. And he was like, okay, we got to go get some swag. And I'm like, okay, we'll be at Universal. I'd say, you do. He's like, you do it. So I'm like, okay, well, we were here filming. We can get a couple of jackets and some T-shirts and whatever else. And I did. Whenever we shot on location, we came home with so much stuff. And I was like his pimp for swag.
Tim can do a great Gilbert Gottfried.
No, I can't do it great.
Yes, you can.
Make sure they have soap. See, that's
That's great. That is great.
Oh, thank you.
It's so sad because he was so good, and he should never have been taken off the Affleck commercial.
No, he shouldn't have. No. And then they hired somebody to just copy his voice.
Which is wrong.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he was one of a kind. Absolutely.
Back when they were doing the search for the voice, people were telling me, well, you can do this. I was on a different radio show where I actually did them a lot. And there's like, well, send it in. And I wouldn't do it because I'm like, it's a shitty idea. Also, I was a fan of his. So when he would come on our show, when he would come to Atlanta to do tours, I would always go down and get him, and then I would do impressions for him in the elevator and make him laugh. And then that's my one of my great private things that I got to do with.
I love that, and and what was great about him, he was very generous with his time and himself, and he loved doing the morning radio shows. He loved it. He never tired of that. So he did. That was part of the performance that he loved too. I think he enjoyed the traveling and the getting the bars of soap and the free food, but he did love the morning radio shows, and we did a lot of that stuff together too. It was so much fun.
Did you guys ever do Stern together? Because that's one of the reasons I quit listening to Stern when they wouldn't have Gilbert on anymore. I didn't care about politics, but they just stopped having him on, and I said, "Hey, he's your best guest you've ever had."
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. No, I did Stern a couple of times, and the first time I was doing I was a Playboy celebrity layout of Up All Night that I was doing, and had me on, and he was okay. And the second time, I crashed his studio with Sissy Biggers that I was co-hosting. I should say I was her co-host, and Joy Behar was her other co-host. They would use her one week and me another week. It was a Lifetime. A Lifetime show live from Queens. But one time we were both up for a Cable Ace Award, Stern, and this show that was called Live from Queens. And so my producer of that show she was out there, and I loved her. She goes, why don't we just go crash Stern and see what he thinks about being up against Sissy Biggers? So so usually I did it very more as myself, that show. But that day I'm like, if I don't go in with something low cut, I mean, it was still the 90s, low cut and Rhonda-esque, he's not going to let us in. So they kept us in the snow, and finally they let us in. It was snowing. It was a horrible day. And I was so cold. We finally get in, and Sissy Biggers was very much like, Martha Stewart. So I knew he was going to ignore her. So he started with me, and I just was doing my flirty high voicing. And so he put me in that, I don't know if you remember, this laughing stock that he would put girls in and tickle or whatever. I was numb from being out in the snow waiting to get in to crash his studio. So he puts me in that, and he starts to tickle me, and I'm really ticklish. I felt nothing. And he's like, come on, bitch, laugh, And so he leans over me. And this is you can find this on E. I mean, you can find it. We have it up there, and then E! Entertainment put it up there, his show. But he leans over me, and he was right in front of me, and I don't know what made me do it. But I bit his hair by the roots and pulled it out, and he was furious. Wow. I really took a big chunk of it out. It was fabulous.
He deserved it.
He did deserve it. I was never happy that he left his wife. That's, I'm like the old school about stuff like that. I mean, I know he's happily married and all that, but, anyway, he kind of showed his true colors and threw us out then. But it made such a great show for them and for us that both of us used it.
That's radio magic when stuff like that happens, and it doesn't happen anymore.
No. I like crashing studios. I'll come crash yours.
When you come to Atlanta, come crash out, because this is a radio station that I'm in. I work at a radio station.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love does anybody work out of stations anymore, or do they work from home?
Tim does.
We're a talk station, and all of our hosts are here, except for Sean Hannity, who's on at 10 o'clock. But everybody's here. The guy that I'm on the show with, his name is Eric Von Hessler. He was out in L.A. on a show called The Regular Guys that if you were out there, then you might remember it mid to late.
I do remember yes, I do remember that.
It was Eric Von Hessler, Larry Wax. I forget the station they were on. I think it was K-Rock. No, it wouldn't have been K-Rock. I can't
remember. I just remember the name of the show. Yeah, I was there.
They were on after Kato Kalin.
Who's a friend of mine.
Is he?
He is a friend of mine. And here's a funny thing, that is so funny. Kato Kalin is not what everybody thinks. He's really a very smart, bright guy who really got a bad break with the O.J. Simpson trial and everything.
They made him into a himbo, and you know that he wasn't. You knew that he was smart.
And I believe it. Yeah. You tell him I said hi.
I will. Well, I ended up my husband and I did a line. We were probably ahead of our time because it was before COVID, and when loungewear and just hanging around the house in loungewear, which I'm doing now, became popular, but we did a line of loungewear pre-COVID with Kato. What was it called, honey? Slacker. And he named it Slacker. Slacker wear. And it had places, I mean, we designed it for him. There was these long pockets for your TV remote, and one was like plastic line for your Cheetos. It was like, but it was really funny. And I mean, he was self-deprecating and got it. And then ended up just doing a lot of stuff with, we did a lot of stuff through the years together. And I've always cheered him on because I met him long before that whole O.J. Simpson thing. I met him at a stand-up club when he was trying to do stand-up when I was first started. And then during the trial, and Up All Night was running then, we had him on the show. And he was the only guest that USA Network ever paid because he wouldn't come on unless he got paid because he was in the middle of all this stuff. Yeah. And so we got him on, and then all I know is that it was like in the middle of everything, and we opened the back door of the studio where we were filming, and there were hundreds of photographers, like paparazzi. It was insane. And I remember standing next to him, and his skin just turned red. I've told him the story. Like, he was so terrified. He was, I don't blame him. Yeah. I mean, I would have been terrified of O.J. Simpson too back then. Yeah. But he finally spoke out many years later what he really thought. But he knew that all along, or what he felt.
Hey, I'm innocent. Labyrinth has wonderful sponsors, and I'd like to talk about our most recent sponsor. That is the Punchline Comedy Club in Sandy Springs, Georgia. The Punchline, it's the premier comedy club in the city of Atlanta, and it has the longest storied history. Let me tell you who's coming up at the Punchline in Sandy Springs. On November 6th, Max Mantikoff, who I will be interviewing on the podcast. From the 7th to the 9th, it's Alonzo Bowden. On the 8th of November, you have Pinky Patel. November 14th through the 16th, Leslie Lau. On the 18th, you have Andrew Packer and Mark Anthony Singoga. On the 19th, Maddie Chimber. And then on the 20th through the 22nd, it's Josh Sneed, who we hope will do the show. And then kicking off December on the 4th and the 6th, it's Erica Rhodes. Go to punchline.com, again, for all the show information and to get your tickets.
I went back and watched some of your stand-up on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I remember as a little kid, I remember you from Up All Night. So I was like, I didn't know she had done stand-up. So I used to do stand-up as well. So I went back and watched it. And
I did it for years. And I started at a time where there wasn't that many women doing stand-up. Actually, one of my first gigs was in Atlanta at the Punchline.
Whoa.
The old Punchline. And I opened for Sinbad. And before that, I opened for, and none of you all are going to remember this guy, Waylon Flowers and Madam.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do.
But that was cool.
I loved that. When I was a little kid, I thought she had a sitcom, a very short-lived sitcom.
Yes.
And I watched it, and I made my mom, and I don't care what you're watching, Mom. I like Waylon Flowers and Madam.
He was brilliant. It was awesome.
Yep.
It was very cool. But when I first started, not too many women were getting stage time, especially I was trying to push, not being sexy, but just being myself, because I was so tired of hearing, you look a certain way, you can't do this, you can't do that. So I'm like, I'm just going to do this, and eventually it's going to work. And so I kept working out material, started off, begging to get on stage in LA, and finally got to the point where I went to Jamie Masada, who owned the Laugh Factory, and he gave me Monday night to book all women. And sometimes it'd be an audience, and sometimes it'd be 5 people, but he gave us that night. Then I went to a deli in Westwood, and I booked the upstairs at a deli, and just to give women stage time. That was the entrepreneur in me that whole time that I never realized till recently that I was doing all this stuff that no one would do. But I'm like, well, how are we going to get on stage? And then eventually I became a regular at the Improv, the Laugh Factory, and the Comedy Store. And that was very cool. But I worked from ground up. But agents would tell me, I had comedy agents, but the big agencies would say, well, I don't know what to do with you. I don't know where to put you. They really didn't know. Now, there's definitely women that I haven't kept up with all the female comics, but I mean, there's some beautiful gals out there that are working, and they wear tight clothes and what I've seen, and I think people are more accepting. But back then, you had to look funny to be funny. didn't, and male, it was a male dominant business. So the agents were mainly male, the booking agents, the clubs were all male, and they were like, I don't know what to do with you. But many a night in clubs across this country, I'd be backstage first as an opening act, then a middle act, then a headliner, but like, well, waiting for my money. Like club owners were really tough. I'm like, can I have my money so I can go back to my little hotel? But I did the whole touring comedy scene. It's because I wanted a sitcom so badly, and they were plucking comics from the clubs, and I finally did end up, doing headlining in Vegas and all over, and it was very cool, and still to this day, people like, you're going to do stand up again. I'm like, I would love to do more of a storytelling thing. It's just that I don't have the time to work out material, but every time I get a chance to host or something, I love jumping up there. My husband goes, and you never shut up and you never get off the stage. And I'm like, I know.
I think it would be very successful if you did a stage tour where you showed old clips and talked about your career. I think people would love that.
That's cool. Yes, thank you. That's cool. I had toured with something, and my husband is my junior high school sweetheart, and we got married and started the intimate apparel business, and that's what moved me away from LA and to Florida, where Home Shopping Network is. I was doing a little bit before we married called Rhonda Shear's Up All Night Pajama Party. And what I did is I had headlining comics come on, but we would be on the stage in our pajamas. So we would be out there the whole time, and they would get up and they'd do their 15, 20 minutes, but then we'd also do sketches in between. Mm-hmm. And so they'd be in their pajamas. We'd invite the audience to wear their pajamas. And it was this really cute variety show, but you had headlining comics that were doing their best 15, 20 minutes. So, I mean, it's funny. That show was probably ahead of its time. And if I was doing that today, would probably kill it. But, everything's timing. Yeah. And the timing for Up All Night again was right. And I'm hoping that it just takes off, because I just have a really good feeling. Even when we were shooting the other day, I had such a good feeling about it.
I want to say that bringing the show back, Rhonda Shear's Up All Night, is a cool thing to do, because you have You own that sweet spot of pop culture for Gen Xers and older millennials from the 80s to the 90s. Right. And now they can watch the show with their kids, or yes, if you're my age, grandkids, although I'm 54 and I have a 4-year-old. So that's great. You're not going to watch
awesome.
it.
And his name's Gilbert, by the way.
Yes, he is named Gilbert.
He was named after Gilbert. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, it's funny that you say that, because I didn't have time to really go to any of the festivals and the shows that have been getting very popular for the last, I don't know how long, maybe decade or longer. Went to a few in my early days of the show. But I was invited to go to one called FrankenCon in Knoxville. And because I'd done these films and fans were reaching out, like, we want to see you on the circuit. And I go, anyway, we decided to go. My husband and I were like, we'll go to Knoxville. We'll have fun. We have a home in, I think I told you, Highlands, North Carolina. So we're like, let's just go for the weekend. So we went. I took my videographer, and we got a lot of footage and put it out there on YouTube. And that's where the Kings of Horror gentleman came up to me, their head of programming, a young man. And he said, I'd love to speak to my boss, because have you ever thought about rebooting Up All Night? And I'm like, yeah, we have. We just haven't at the time. And I just don't, where am I going to get the films? I might be able to get a film here or a film there from friends that have done it, or young filmmakers, but I don't, that's the whole thing, is the films, and we can't license films. That's a lot of money. So that's always been a problem, I think, when people want to host films, is you've got to get the films. And I didn't want to use public domain films, because everybody does that. Right. So he says, we have the films. And I'm like, we have the studio. Let's make a movie. And we ended up speaking to the CEO of the company, and he's lovely and just a big thinker, and has different channels. He's got a nostalgia channel on YouTube. He's got a comedy channel. He's got a documentary channel. And he started doing this years ago, but now he needed on Kings of Horror to kind of find a show that would anchor it, and kind of, as he said, and I'm like, I don't mind being called this. I love it. A mama bear, although I'm a mama dog, if you want to.
He looks super excited about your interview.
What's your dog's name?
I have 4.
Oh, both of them.
I have 4. They're all asleep. I don't know what it is. Whenever I do podcast or I'm talking on air or anything I'm doing, they get real quiet. And they're chihuahuas. They can be loud, but they're very bored with my voice, apparently.
But my dog's whining at the basement door right now, trying to get in.
Oh, well, I can't. Mine have to be with me. This is little Molly. She's only 3 pounds. And then I've got Lexi and Honey Baby. You can't see her. Let's see. Oh, yeah, she's right there. I didn't even see her. Okay, she's on the back.
She crept in.
She just crept in, and it was like, oh.
And then I'm missing one, girly girl. So yeah, they're my little heartbeats. They keep my husband and I very grounded because they're bossy. They're bossy little bitches. They really are.
Well, tell everybody where they can find the new Up All Night.
Okay, guys, so sweet. Well, it'll be on this Saturday night. You can go to kingsofhorror.com, or you can go to YouTube and just search out Kings of Horror. And we're on at 10 p.m. Eastern on October 25th. And then our next show will be November the 22nd, our Thanksgiving show, and it's going to be How to Be a Scream Queen and Thanksgiving dinner. And then we have a Christmas show, which will air December the 20th. And then we go, after that, we start January the 4th every other week. So we are back in production. We were every other week. Every week for USA, but every other week is a big undertaking for a company like ourselves. And I'm really excited about it.
I'm excited about it.
So are we.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to see, so RhondaShear.com is my intimate apparel brand. And RhondaShearUpAllNight.com is my new website for merchandise, for where I'll be at conventions. It's a little bit about everything that's going on in my life. So we couldn't use the RhondaShear.com because that's been my intimate apparel site for so long. But I think Rhonda Shear Up All Night is the perfect for all things up all night and beyond, and the schedule and all those goodies.
Do you have social media that you like to plug or that you're involved with?
All of them.
Okay.
Twitter, or X or whatever the heck it's called, Instagram, Facebook. I find my fans are very active. The horror genre fans are very active on X and Facebook, believe it or not, even more than Instagram.
Okay.
So I don't know why, but I think on Twitter, X, they like being able to communicate. So I think that's part of it. But all of the above, I'm on all of them, and I'm doing, and this is making it grow so quickly. It's cracking me. I never really tried to grow it, but now we're into it.
Well, good. Up All Night, Kings of Horror on YouTube. Tonight, if you're watching this, the day it comes out, or go back and find it. But I'm going to be there watching it live because I like that interactive thing. So it's going to be.
And I will talk to you, and we will talk.
Yes, we will. We'll chat.
We will flirt, and it'll be good.
my wife will be asleep, and so will myself. Please come back and do the show sometime again.
Thank you.
It was fun.
Yes,
so much fun, and I really do want to get you some bras and panties. So we have to reach out.
Thank you. Oh, no.
How do we do that?
Yeah, I'll put you guys in touch after that.
Okay.
After
Well, you put me in touch, or you put them in touch. Yeah, because we were talking. So let's make that happen. Bras and panties for all. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rhonda, so much.
All right.
Radio Labyrinth has sponsors. In fact, we have two delightful sponsors I'd like to tell you about right now. The first one being our longest sponsor, Atlanta Pizza in Euro in Conyers, proudly serving the East Metro Atlanta area for over 40 years. Atlanta Pizza in Euro is the place to be, proudly serving you the best pizza and gyros in the city. They're the place to be this fall. They have a huge selection of local Georgia and Southeast craft beers on tap, as well as many others available in bottles and cans. Their featured selection for fall is Scofflaw Brewing's Oktoberfest. Come out and enjoy a tasty ice-cold brew and some fantastic food made fresh to order, and I can attest to that. Their food is amazing. I'm talking about some of the best gyros, pizzas, hot subs, and Greek and Italian specialties around. Stop by Monday through Friday from 11 to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from noon to 9 p.m. And they are closed on Sundays. Tuesday nights, they have team trivia, and that's always fun from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Their food truck is also available, so if you're interested, call Mike at 770-483-6228 for more details or to schedule your private or corporate event. And Mike says, thanks for listening to the best podcast around. Thank you, Mike. And for all your business and continued support. We're also brought to you by LDI Repro Printing. Do you have a commercial or residential construction printing need? Sure, we all do. Well, what are you waiting for? Contact LDI Repro Printing of Athens. They've been in Athens, Georgia since 2005, which if you're like me and good at math, is 20 years with fast turnaround and affordable prices. Call 706-316-9366, or you can email them at athens@ldiline.com. Thank you to our guest, Rhonda Shear. Everybody watch the all-new Rhonda Shear's Up All Night, Kings of Horror at YouTube. Next week, we have Casper Kelly talking about VHS Halloween. He's a part of that. He returns to the show. Hey, listen, if you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Tim Andrews, pick your favorite tier, and sign up. And if you want to become a Radio Labyrinth producer, an executive producer, that's the $25 level, and you get a t-shirt and a credit each and every week. Isn't that pretty cool? I think it is. And also, the t-shirt's going to take 100 years to get to your house. I just want you to know that. So we got to find a new vendor for that. The guy that he joined a while ago, Mike Walker, I ordered his shirt in September. I think maybe the first week, and it's still not there. And I don't know why. But it's, that is what it is. But anyway, I'm not doing a good job selling the Patreon. You get to become a producer of the show and get a credit. So I want to thank Mike Walker, John Allen, Matt Carter, Chris Chandler, Mike D., Jim Fortner, Roby Neely, Jeff Peterson, Tim Slayton, and Brian and Chelsea Smith. So thank you guys very much. And yes, we will be returning to the live after show and the Patreon show that you'll be able to get on patreon.com. Also, look for your chance to win tickets to go to the Punchline, an upcoming show. You can also get a cameo from me if you want. Just find, what is that, Dustin? Is it at Tim Andrews ATL?
Yes, it has an ATL on the end.
Yeah, you'll find it. Tim Andrews cameo. I'll do a cameo for you. I'm going to do a promo for that soon. Let's see. What else? I guess that's it. Please remember to
keep it canon.
Canon.
They say all good things come to an end.
What's that got to do with this show?
Lost in the radio.